Champions! Champions!
That's right, it's Borussia Dortmund. The Germans are invading Newcastle.
What a bloody hell shit! Germans!
And we're getting back on this amazing Champions League merry-go-round once again, back at St James's Park, under the lights for Champions League match day 3, as Newcastle sit top of the group of death going into this one. We're the favourites. I still can't get my head around the fact we're the favourites, but let's have a cheeky little preview into what promises to be another very eventful night at St James's Park. If you're curious Newcastle fans, you know what to do. Make sure you stick around. Welcome back to Black and White Banter, you lovely, that didn't even sound German, Newcastle fans. It's good to be back making videos. This preview, as it gets posted, will be a little bit late. I struggle, I do. I've got 2 jobs. I post on Facebook some my jokey edits. Anyone who follows me on other socials will know how long some of them take to make. Dealing with Eddie Howe's Mags has become a very popular series. 5 episodes into that now. To get all this content together is just very difficult. So yeah, this one's going out quite late. But, Newcastle fans, before we dive into a very, very tasty match preview, if you are new around here, please do me a little favour. Whack that little likey, Lou. I don't know what the German is for that. And whack that subscribe if you like my opinion by the end of this. Of course I'm going to the Borussia Dortmund home game. Of course I'm going to the Borussia Dortmund away game. You think I'm going to miss out on a copious amounts of steins and some of the finest sausage Germany has to offer. And before anyone makes a joke on that line, I mean the pork food. Alright. Yeah, I'm going to these matches home and away, and the match vlogs will be coming. The love that I got for the match vlog on Saturday, where Amy, my friend from America, visited all the way for her first ever match, was great. Love seeing the comments fly in. So make sure you drop that like, 'cause it takes you no effort, and whack that subscribe. So here we go again. As I am recording this video, it is actually match day, and the buzz is still there. I've seen little comments here and there. Will it be anything like PSG? Well, football aside, because of course it won't be like PSG, because it's a different team. Very different setup, I believe, in this match, which we'll touch on in a second. Do I think the excitement from PSG will have fizzled out? My God, no. Any Newcastle fan who has already gotten over these Champions League nights after one, I don't understand that logic if that's the case. I still think fans will be getting in super early tonight. I still think the atmosphere will be class. The flag display will be amazing. We'll all be nervous as hell going into it. I'm going to be heading over to Newcastle way earlier than what I normally do for a midweek match day. Normally I'm literally having me tea and then getting the last metro over. I will be there to mingle with some of the Germans, hopefully. And I don't think there's any... But if anything, PSG, for me, should have only got us more excited for this match. We aren't the whipping boys at St James's Park. We absolutely taught Mbappe a new one on that famous night. So why can't we go and do that against Dortmund, which, no disrespect to them coming into this group before the Champions League had even kicked off, you would have said, out of them and PSG, Dortmund were the lesser of the sides. You know, they lost Bellingham in the summer, they've lost Haaland in recent years, and that star-studded Dortmund team has dropped off a little bit. So, yeah, there's no lack of momentum from me, my God. Literally, I'd be over there right now in the pub if I wasn't recording this video just before I start work this morning, working from home. Didn't have, of course, a beautiful dog in Maggie to look after as well. So I'm pumped for this one. Now, where do I see this one going? Well, we're coming into this the favourites, and is it any surprise? And yes, I am pinching myself with every single statement that I make of such high regard about this Newcastle team. I do still pinch myself, and I don't think that will ever change. But look at this wave. I talked on the match at the end of the match vlog at Crystal Palace. We are on a wave of momentum. Jacob Murphy on Saturday was riding them waves. Let's just keep rolling with that. We've got a lot of fixtures to come. You know, Carabao Cup away games at Old Trafford, Champions League away games, Premier League matches, it's all coming thick and fast. Do I expect us to continue conceding no goals and scoring lots? I'm not so sure. I do still have that little voice at the back of my brain thinking a poorer result is due. And I shouldn't think that, because with every game we get stronger, the players get more used to playing with each other, we get more confidence in the final third, Isak's looking fitter, Anthony there's lots of factors why we should only get better, but I still think with Matthew, if, for example, the Dortmund match doesn't go to plan, and they maybe churn out a scrappy draw, or worse, is it the end of the world? No, of course it's not. Newcastle are currently sitting top of the group of death. Top of the group of death. It's been the group of absolute joy, in my opinion. So I do have that little voice, but going into this, we are the favourites, and we're the favourites for a reason. 22 goals scored in 8 matches, 3 conceded, one of them to PSG, a couple of them to West Ham that were probably avoidable. Bring the Germans on. Bring the Germans on. Now, comparing this match to PSG, as I mentioned earlier, I think this game is going to be very different. I said before the PSG match that they will play one of the most attacking styles we'll see at St James's Park. And if they do that, they run the risk of St James's Park putting them in the chokehold from the first whistle and swallowing them up. And we did that at PSG. You know, their fullbacks wanted to get forward at every opportunity. Their midfield, they were outnumbered a little bit. We doubled up on their fullbacks every single opportunity. Tonali doubled up. Almiron doubled up with Longstaff on the right-hand side. It was just, we played PSG wonderfully. I think Dortmund are still going to play quite an attacking style, but in the right moments. They will be coming into this a little bit more reserved. Everybody in our Champions League group is going to wake up and be like, wow, them Geordie boys up in the UK, they're maybe not the whipping boys from the 4th seed that you normally get in your Champions League group. So I do think Dortmund will play a little bit more reserved, but the reason I believe we will win this football match is just because I just think we've got quality on them in a lot of areas. What I mean by quality is energy, intensity, pace, that I think some of their players will struggle to deal with, and I'll pinpoint who now. So, of course, they've got some standout players, but they're bigger players that a lot of us might know who maybe don't watch as much German football right now. The likes of Hummels in defence, he's 34. And I'm not saying 34 is an age for a centre-back to not be able to play at the highest level. Of course it is. But the likes of Isak, the likes of Gordon running behind, the likes of Callum Wilson who likes to put himself about. We can terrorise a player like Hummels. And then I go to one of the most staples of German football, Mr. Reus. That really rolled off my tongue strange. We know him. He's been in and around German football for years. He's been one of Germany's best players despite having those injuries across his career. He's 34. And yes, he is still starting football matches for them, and he's important to everything they do. And then you look at their midfield. Emre Can, who we all know played for Liverpool, so he's played in the Premier League. We've played against him. Never a bad player on his day. But I just think we have the capabilities and the creativity to overrun that midfield of Reus. Is it Reese? Why is it rolling off the tongue so weird? Like I'm talking about Reese's Pieces, the chocolate. Don't know what's gone wrong with my mouth when I say that. But we have the legs to overrun these guys. Now, who do I think are the biggest threats for Dortmund? Well, it's actually none of them players I've just mentioned. It's a man called Brand. I don't think the T's pronounced. God, my German is absolutely terrible. I need to work on it before I go over to Dortmund in a few weeks. He's actually created the most chances in the Champions League so far this season with 8. He's going to be a really, really big threat for them. He scored the winning goal for them on Friday and he's 300th, my God, I cannot speak today, appearance in the Bundesliga, and he's a danger. Now, they generally normally adopt a 4-5-1 that can be adaptable to who they're playing. Their fullbacks will get forward at every opportunity. They've just spent a hell of a lot of money on their striker for them, Mr. Fulkrug, but he is 30 years old. He's quite an old-fashioned centre-forward. And I tell you what, if Mr. Fulkrug wants to get into an argy-bargy with our 2 centre-backs, I'm all for that. If there's one thing that Jamal Lascelles thrives off, who you would assume is playing this game and not Botman, it's that aggression, it's that battle, rather than me maybe being caught out with pace. So their main centre-forward is not a pacey one at all. He will drop deep quite a lot, as he's done for Dortmund since he signed in the summer. He likes to drop in, link up. So our centre-backs need to watch. If we are going to push all the way out and follow that player, he will be looking for players like Brand, who I've just mentioned, to run off him and get in behind. And that's the only risk I always find for this Newcastle team. We will play with an intensity again. We know we will. The crowd is going to play a massive part again. We talked about it before the PSG match, what role the crowd can play, and we saw. With every single tackle, we celebrated it like we just won the Champions League final itself. More of that, please, tonight. But I do think, with regards to that intensity, and now we've added that sprinkle of attacking quality, will be too much for the Germans. We will. They don't have a good record. They've only won like one of their last 10 trips to England in European football, so they don't travel very well up here. They'll know that. They know what cauldron they're going to be walking into, and I see no reason why we can't keep riding that wave of momentum. Teams, who would I play? Well, we assume that Botman is still injured. I don't think Eddie Howe mentioned much on him in his press conference. This is one of the first weeks I haven't been able to watch his press conference, to be totally honest with you. So you would assume maybe Lascelles, Cher, Byrne, Trippier. You don't need to change that. Trippier's, in my opinion, playing some of the best football of his life, and they will be fearing him quite a lot going forward. Midfield, well, do you go Almiron? Do you go Murphy? I do not see in any universe how Jacob Murphy, who gets 2 assists and a goal the previous Saturday, should not be kept in the team. Almiron's proved his worth. We know he knows where the goal is. We know he's full of running. But his work rate is matched by Murphy. I just like Murphy, how he likes to run at his man. He's not scared to do so, and he's added that little sprinkle of quality with his crosses. Almiron is not going to provide that many quality crosses into the box. So I would stick with the man who's absolutely buzzing from Saturday's performance, and rightly so. Murphy starts on the right for me. Tonali, is the ban going to come through just before this match? Is he going to play? Eddie Howe said he will play if the ban doesn't come through. I would probably go with the same midfield that picked off PSG, and I think working the same game plan, because Dortmund play with those attacking fullbacks, could work wonders again. So I would go for a midfield of Bruno, Longstaff. There's an argument there for Tonali or Joelinton, isn't it? And it's a difficult one. I would still go Tonali if he's available, just because he put such a good shift in against PSG. He's good at this level. He got AC Milan to the semi-finals, so if Tonali's headspace is right and he's fit and he wants to go out singing and dancing before this awful 10-month ban it looks like he's going to receive, I would go with him. Joelinton's still finding his feet a little bit after a bit of injury. First Champions League game at St James's for him. Maybe bring him on as a sub, see how Tonali's going, but it worked wonders against PSG, it really did. Gordon, without a doubt. I would go Isak for this one. The only reason I'm not going to go Callum Wilson, who's wonderful, and it's amazing the options we've got there, is because I think Mr. Matt Hummels will be more suited to a battle against the likes of Wilson as opposed to the pace of Isak, the trickery of Isak. That's what Hummels will not want to be facing in this one. And then obviously Murphy on the right. Cannot wait to get over St James's Park for this one. I'm pumped. Cannot wait to see what the atmosphere brings again. And if we win this football match, where does that leave us? We have almost qualified for the knockout stages, and there's been lots of talk this week at Eddie Howe's little event with Keegan. Are Newcastle looking to win this competition? You don't enter a competition not to win it. I certainly think we can get somewhere in the knockouts based off what I've seen so far, and it's just absolutely exciting as hell, and I hope this momentum continues into Wolves, continues into Man United in the Cup, continues into Dortmund away. Let's see where we go, because this Newcastle team is only building in confidence, strength and attack and purpose. I'm going to go scoreline. I'm going to go 2-0. I don't think we're going to concede a goal today, looking at the Dortmund team and what their attributes and what their stronger points are. So I'm going to go 2-0 Newcastle. Nice, steady performance. Another solid 3 points to set us up nicely for that difficult away game over in Dortmund. Newcastle fans, let me know your predictions in the comments. Sorry this video is probably not going to be seen by many people because it's getting posted so late. Whack that subscribe if you want to see my match vlog, which will hopefully be a very, very happy one. Drinking lots of toasting the Germans with the most German beer I can find in the Newcastle pubs, because we've just smashed another team in the Champions League. Enjoy it if you're going, enjoy it if you're watching on the telly, because you never know, Newcastle fans, when these Champions League nights might return, and don't ever forget that. I'll see you on the next video. Away the lads!